So what's next for Blox Fruits? Recently, we just got done with all the updates of Blox Fruits. The 6 weeks of consistent updates have finally passed, which means we are done with all the updates of Blox Fruits. We got all the reworks that not really all the reworks that we wanted. We just got some of the reworks that we liked. And yeah, we got done with the most consistent that Blox Fruits has ever been since before they blew up. Now I don't think they've been that consistent ever since, several years ago before they became a very big game. But regardless, they did that, and honestly, it was pretty fun for the most part. The first update and the last update was the best. Anything past the first and second update was kind of boring. There's a lot of YouTubers who glaze Blox Fruits to no end, saying that it was the most peak thing ever. But in reality, I kind of feel like the updates in the middle of those 6 weeks that they did was very boring. The first one was genuinely good. They added fishing, they added several cool mechanics. But then after that, it was just events and reworks that we didn't even want. And then the last event, it was honestly a very fun event because they also added a new mechanic, which was had something to do with PvP. It was very nice. I will admit it that was very nice. But the events in the middle was very boring. So I feel like that 6 weeks had two really, really great updates or events, but the rest of it was kind of boring. And this is just me giving fair criticism. I'm still saying that it was very nice overall, but I feel like they could have done better. Now what we're going to talk about is the future of Blox Fruits and what they're going to be doing moving forward. And the thing is, I think they're going to wait until maybe December before releasing another update. And hopefully the update they release is somewhat big, because from what I've heard, the DLCs will also be releasing in December, which is very interesting to see how that's gonna work out. The DLCs developers have always been a lot more consistent and a lot more better with communication. Blox Fruits has also been better with communication recently. But I'm going to be very interested to see how DLCs will perform, especially now that Blox Fruits is not as big as it was before. And Blox Fruits is now also a lot more boring. I mean, this 6 weeks of updates, it was very nice, but the update itself was pretty boring. They added a lot of good stuff, but after like the first 2 days, it got boring eventually. I feel like for the future of Blox Fruits, what they should start doing is adding a lot more interesting features. Again, the first update of Blox Fruits was really, really great. They added fishing, which was an interesting mechanic. They added the cooking mechanism, which was again a very interesting mechanic. And then the last week of the update, they added PvP mechanics, the PvP arena that we have in that dimension, in that celebration dimension. That was very nice. And I feel like they should start implementing more of that instead of useless events, because useless events, especially the ones that just involve you bandit beating, are very, very boring. Especially if it doesn't add anything new, no new mechanics. So I feel like for the future of Blox Fruits, it would be very nice, and correct me on this if you guys do not agree with this, but I feel like I would much rather Blox Fruits do monthly updates where they add a lot of decent stuff than weekly updates that only has boring repeated events that are copy and pasted, because that will get boring. And like, for example, if you take a look at Grow a Garden, which is a game that at its peak was insanely big, now it's still a very big game, but it's no longer as big of a game as back then. Now it only has 510,000 players, which is absolutely insane. Remember that this is also the same game that averaged 2 million players and used to be, during their update days, get like 20 million, 14 million, something like that. It was absolutely insane. Now they're still gonna be doing an update on October 11. But the problem here is that their updates are just repeated every single week. Their updates are getting very boring, and now they lost a lot of players. And eventually, I feel like Grow a Garden will eventually lose more players to the point where it might die eventually. I'm genuinely saying that Grow a Garden might die because of how repetitive this game was. So Blox Fruits needs to start doing something new, needs to start being more consistent, maybe monthly updates. But while they're doing monthly updates, I feel like they should also start adding a lot of what they added during the first week of this update, new mechanics, essentially. That would be very, very nice. Like, I think the UI mechanic that they added in this update was also very interesting. You could actually search player's name now, like Rip Indra, for example. And if you can see Rip Indra, you guys can actually see that Celestial Fruit, he has Celestial Fruit, he has Divine Arts. He has all these stuff right here, which is very interesting. This was actually a very great mechanic, and I feel like this is more of what they should add instead of just those useless events, because take a look at the player counts of bloxfruits right now. It's not really that high, and if you take a look at the YouTubers, the big YouTubers that used to just focus on bloxfruits, a lot of them have kind of switched now to all these other games. Like NU has switched to 99 Nights. Kit Gaming is no longer doing just bloxfruits. Kit Gaming is now also doing Plants vs. Brainrot and all those other stuff that he's posting. Official newbie, oh my god, that increased, have decreased in views. Like, take a look at his views right now. It's a lot lower than it was back then. The Grow a Garden video that he made was actually very nice though, and he actually stopped posting bloxfruits videos now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, as you guys can see right here, bloxfruits is slowly experiencing a decline. I think it's not going to completely die, but it definitely has fallen off quite a bit, and it will fall off even more if they don't start doing more of what they did during the first week of their update, which is adding new stuff, adding new actual mechanics and new gameplay mechanics, and also while being consistent. I don't think they need weekly updates, but I think they do need monthly updates at the very least, and not just adding useless events, but actually adding good in-game mechanics that we want to see. Like maybe they could add new hockey mechanics, new weapon mechanics, new fruit mechanics or stuff like that, which would all be very, very interesting for the player. But yeah, what's next for bloxfruits? I honestly don't know, but honestly what I think is they're probably going to be waiting until December before updating again. And honestly, after that, I think they're going to be doing what they usually do, which is, wait 6 months and then update. That's usually how bloxfruits is. Even right now in their current player, where they only have 300,000 players, they're still making so much money that I genuinely think they don't care anymore. So unfortunately, as good as I think bloxfruits is, I don't think there will be an actual change. I'm saying what I want to say, and I'm hoping that they actually are going to do what I think they should be doing, which is, adding new mechanics and consistently updating. But it's very unlikely that they will do that, because we know bloxfruits at the end of the day, they have a lot of money, they have everything that they want, and I don't think they're actually going to do that much for the game anymore. Like, even the 6 weeks of the updates that they did, it was very nice, but again, like I said, the events were very repetitive and quite boring, which is why it didn't really do that much for the numbers and players of bloxfruits. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For the future of this channel, I think I will start posting different videos, because I think bloxfruits is coming to an end eventually. A lot of the YouTubers have left. I will still be making bloxfruits videos, but expect more content on games other than bloxfruits, which is going to be more exciting in my opinion. That's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.